Top 5 things Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever must do to win Game 2 vs Sun and stay alive in playoffs after a 93-69 loss to the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark talked to the media about the Indiana Fever's performance in Game 1 of the playoffs. She said the Fever had a crappy game and that playing at the Mohegan Sun wasn't a factor behind it. The newly minted Rookie of the Year winner expressed confidence she and her teammates would play better in the rematch on Wednesday. The Fever showed their inexperience in the opening game of the playoffs. They had trouble dealing with their playoff-hardened opponents' intensity and execution on both ends of the floor. With Game 1 in the books, Clark and co. will have to step up in the rematch or Indiana's season ends on the road. 5 adjustments Caitlin Clark and Indiana could do to win Game 1. 5 Match Connecticut's intensity and energyThe Indiana Fever did just fine in the opening minutes quarter of Game 1 in dealing with the Connecticut Sun's intensity and energy. But as the game wore on, the hosts steadily took a stranglehold of the game by sustaining those 2 factors. Indiana will be in big trouble if it can't keep up. The Fever are inexperienced, and there's no other way around it. It will be a disadvantage that will likely show up again in Game 2, but they can't afford to play with less intensity and energy. Connecticut pushed the ball with gusto, allowing them to win the transition points battle 18-9. The Indiana Fever must improve on that end, starting with energy and hustle to prevent fast break points. Caitlin Clark and her backcourt mates need to hold up defensively against Connecticut's transition attacks. 4. Win the rebounding battle. The Indiana Fever finished the regular season averaging 35.1 rebounds per game, 4th in the WNBA. On Sunday, they were out-rebounded 36-29 by a team ranked 9th before the playoffs in cleaning the glass. Alysa Boston did her part, hauling down 11 rebounds. Alysa Smith, the Fever's second-best rebounder with 7.1 RPG, ended with just 1 in Game 1. Caitlin Clark, averaging nearly 6 boards a game in the regular season, finished with 4. Indiana has to collectively do a better part in securing possessions. Winning Game 2 will be tough if they can't control the boards. 3. Set hard screens. The Indiana Fever's pick-and-roll or pick-and-pop actions didn't have their usual zip. All too often, Caitlin Clark's screeners were too eager to slip to the basket or wriggle out for kickouts. Clark ended up getting aggressively double-teamed while her passing lines were cut off. In the Fever's surge after the Olympic break, their plays off screens were deadly because they usually gave Clark room to shoot or pass. If she can have that back, Indiana's stuttering offense should come alive again. Give Caitlin Clark more room to operate against DeWanna Bonner. Connecticut Sun's biggest adjustment in Game 1 was putting the 6'4" DeWanna Bonner on Caitlin Clark, instead of putting the more physical Dejanay Carrington on the rookie sensation. Sun coach Stephanie White opted to use Bonner's length to bother Clark. Clark went 1 for 7 in the first half and had one of her layups blocked by Bonner. The Indiana Fever could execute more screens or pin downs to free the star point guard, or they could isolate her, trusting her speed and shot-making to handle Bonner's defense. Caitlin Clark had a few open looks, too, but could not capitalize on them. She didn't blame an early eye poke as the reason her shots didn't go in as expected. Giving her some room to operate against Bonner might be a good start to get her rhythm back. 1. Put pressure on Alysa Thomas. Alysa Thomas' superb Game 1 might have been unnoticed by many because she does it without fanfare. She finished the game with 12 points, 10 rebounds and 13 assists. Although she plays forward, she is the Connecticut Sun's offensive hub. The Indiana Fever was so concerned about DeWanna Bonner and Marina Mabrey coming off screen action that they gave Thomas too much room to operate. With that kind of space, the wily veteran expertly dissected the Fever defense. Alysa Smith and Alysa Boston have to do a better job making it tough for her to orchestrate. Caitlin Clark and co. will have a better chance of winning Game 2 if they can disrupt Connecticut's offensive flow.